Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and welcome to the Pangolin Holiday Spectacular, the now annual holiday show dedicated to celebrating and recapping the year's underappreciated conservation stories. The stories that bring festive joy to me, and I hope will bring festive joy to you too. I'm your host, Jack Baker, and today, to celebrate the holiday season, I have invited a very special guest to join me. No, it is not Rudolph. It is, of course, the team programs manager for the Lincoln Park Zoo, the host of the Birdy Bunch Podcast, and one of the NAAE's 30 Under 30, the incredible CJ Greco. CJ was here last week talking about all of the incredible nature and conservation stories of the past year, and we had a really good time talking about wildcats and snails and birds and rhinos, and it was just a wonderful time. So please go back and check that out if you haven't already. If you have, or you've just clicked on this episode because of the title, because I know we're getting into something deep, important, meaningful, the biggest event of the year, I would say so. So welcome. And be prepared, because today we are tackling the debate that has torn the conservation world apart this year. It is, of course, the only question, the most important question. It is Moo Deng versus Pesto. Which team are you on? CJ has one, I have the other, and we're going to fight it out. And we get into it. But also, it's just so you know, me and CJ are still really good friends after this, even though it does get ugly. We're still best friends. Maybe the same person, who knows. We also talk about our own conservation and nature highlights from 2024, some live podcasts we did, some conferences we went to, some nature moments we had, both in Arizona and Scotland, so very vastly different, but wonderful. We talk about our career and life goals for 2025, and we decide what the most underappreciated creatures of 2024 were. And I'm not going to spoil it, but yes, I promise to have more of these episodes about these creatures, because CJ is correct, and we should talk about them a lot more. So yeah, there's a lot to do, a lot to get through, a lot to reflect upon, a lot to be grateful for, and I am so grateful for all of you for joining us, for spending some of your holiday season with us here at Pangolin. Thank you so much. It means the absolute world. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful time, and I hope you're ready to hear two friends absolutely go head to head about penguins versus hippos. Having said all of that, please go and show CJ some love on social media, subscribe to our podcast, give us a big festive 5-star review, and have a happy holidays above all else. Thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful year. I am so grateful for all of your love. And without further ado, this one's for you guys. Let's get started. I feel like while I'm on my soapbox in classic Christmas holiday party mode of like someone getting a little, getting up there and just controlling the room too much, we need to start our potential classic family holiday argument, which is CJ. I don't know the answer to this question.
Yeah, you haven't asked. You've just like, hey, this is a topic we're going to talk about. You haven't actually asked my opinion.
Well, because I think it could be too risky. I didn't want to fall out with you before we'd even started. It's very controversial, you know.
It is.
It's the most controversial topic of the year.
Maybe globally. Here in the States, we've had some more controversial ones, I'll be honest. But maybe...
I don't know. Having been... Whatever could you be talking about?
Yeah, being in Pennsylvania during the week of November 6th. Who knows?
I like how you're still so traumatized you said January 6th.
Look, man, it's been a time.
It's been a weird few years. Well, it's been a long year, guys. But
this is not the place.
The real debate that we need to get into, and the one that's going to divide families across the world this holiday season.
Yeah.
Are you Team Moo Deng or Team Pesto?
Now, I'm gonna be one of those classic people at a holiday party. Just hold on for a second. because I do actually have an answer and I do have an opinion one over the other. But I'm just
Okay.
going to offer it first. Why can't they both be good? You know what I mean?
Because it would be boring podcast content if we just sat here and went, we love everything.
It's true.
Everything is, we have to fight. We have to find something that we
It's
don't get along on.
It's what the people want.
It is. They want to see their two favorite podcasters argue at Christmas. That's
Jack,
what they want.
What do you call the listeners of Pangolin?
I don't know, but like I feel like I should come up with like a nice little nickname for them. We've got 100 episodes now.
Yeah, on the Birdy Bunch, we call our listeners nature lovers.
Oh.
So we always start the episodes going, "Hey there, nature lovers," and like address the nature lovers who are listening. Welcome to borrow that if you'd like, Jack.
I mean, to be fair in advance, I wasn't thinking about names for my listeners, but I was going to ask you if you're a Pesto princess or a Moo King, and I think those are good.
Those are very good. Those are very good. I will say it's controversial. I know, and I think the thing is, this person who I'm advocating for has had a lot of phases, and I think finally maybe grown out of some of that baby phase. I'm Team Pesto, unfortunately. I know. I'm Team
that's
Pesto.
A controversial. Mm-hmm.
I know.
So Pesto, for anyone who doesn't know, king penguin, second largest species of penguin in the world. They are least concern. And the reason, so to me, I'm just going to throw it out there. The reason that Pesto loses a few points is because Pesto stole all of the attention from Edinburgh Zoo's wonderful penguin, the Major General Sir Niels Olav, who is a penguin who is part of an army, which I think is just so much cooler.
See, but I would argue Moo Deng stole the attention from Haggis.
I know, but Haggis came second. So I feel like if anything, it's like I've loved the Edinburgh Zoo marketing that's like "Girls So Confusing" remix, Moo Deng featuring Haggis. Okay, but like, so I can see Pesto. I can see Pesto.
I will say, I host a podcast called the Birdy Bunch Podcast. I talked about barred owls. I talked about the Indiana Dunes Birding Festival. I'm a big birder. Birds are kind of my whole thing. I was immediately leaning Pesto. I always try to escape the birder allegations, but I think penguins are just so cool. We at Lincoln Park Zoo where I work, we do have pygmy hippos.
Yeah.
And I get to see them pretty regularly, which is really cool. We don't have a baby pygmy hippo, but our pygmy hippos are real cute and I love them a lot. But I don't get to see king penguins very often. So fair. I gotta, plus I've been to like the aquarium where Pesto was born. I've been there. So that also Australia holds a special place in my heart. So, there's a couple reasons why I'm Team Pesto, but I want to hear your takes, Jack. I want to hear your takes.
Okay, so for me, I'm more Team Moo Deng. If I'm honest, I have to be Team Moo Deng.
Please be honest. Please, what the people want.
I'm living my truth, and that is that I am Team Moo Deng, because now I think my reasoning is slightly like, I mean, we don't like to compare the conservation stats of animals because it's not fair. But if we're talking about two things,
this is a valid argument. It's a valid argument.
Pesto is a king penguin. Pesto is of least concern, which sounds really harsh. Wow. Now that I say it out loud.
Bully Pesto a little bit more, I think.
But he's of Pesto is of least concern. However, pygmy hippos. There are 3,000 pygmy hippos
there's not
thought
many.
To be left in the world. They are endangered. They're mostly in Liberia, where they're facing threats like deforestation. And there are interesting conservation projects going on to try and kind of restore their numbers. So hippo corridors, they are a beautiful flagship species. They generate their own suntan lotion. So when it gets too sunny, hippos go shiny and you're like, why are they all sweaty? Well, it's actually them generating suntan lotion so they don't burn. The little ears that make the I don't want to make the noise because it's going to sound disgusting, but it's like a wet flappy noise, which I was about to do it with my mouth. I was like, no, Jack, you don't want that recorded anywhere.
No, I think you should do it and then not put it in the final edit. So listeners have to if you have a Patreon or something.
Well, maybe you can judge my you can judge my maybe impression. It's like a
Oh,
Like that
see,
kind of noise.
I hear that. No, I
Yeah?
do. I feel like
Mm.
it's more. I feel like that's a little bit more chittery. I feel like it's more like.
Mm. Oh, we've descended into where are we?
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know.
like, but no. So I think Moo Deng personally also because like working in a zoo that has both pygmy hippos and um
Yeah, king
king
penguins.
penguins,
Yeah,
people eat up the king penguins. They always love penguins. Penguins are so beloved, and I think
yeah. I mean,
pygmy
they're
hippos are
yeah.
just not as beloved for no good reason, as we have learned this year. It kind of falls, and maybe it just plays on my like. One of my favorite animals is the tapir because they have, and largely a lot of that is based on the little baby watermelons that they
Yeah,
are.
yeah. They
Like,
really are.
and so maybe it's just like a trigger in me of that, of like, so that's why I'm more of a moo king than
I
a.
will. I will say objectively, like this is
Hmm.
not even like an opinion based question, but like
Hmm.
who is cuter? Moo Deng is cuter than Pesto. That's
I
not a question.
no, I did love
Objectively,
Pesto's.
right.
Pesto's like emo, like weird trouser phase. Like his phases have been. He's really gone through all of his eras in 1 year.
I mean,
Whereas,
that's both the beauty and the folly of birds. Is they're gonna mature infinitely quicker. Like Moo Deng is gonna be a baby for a bit.
maybe that's the difference between me and you. Like I love something that's like I want to be immature forever. You birders, you mature quickly. You like
I
something
mean,
classy like birds.
life is only beautiful because it's fleeting. You know what I mean?
Oh God, that's it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Um, oh, like my God. Uh, so okay, the one thing for pesto I'll give pesto is a staple of my diet. Not I don't eat penguins, um, not frequently,
No, but
but
like
like
pine nuts, basil, olive
Mm,
oil,
like
parmesan, yum yum yum, delish.
a big part of my diet. Like I will, there was a time where like that was all like, yeah, I was like every like lunch, dinner, like when editing the podcast, I constantly have like pasta coming out of every like cupboard in my house. Like I just love it. So like pesto, you played on my heart there a little bit, but I think I'm always now. Right and vote obviously haggis. We have to talk about haggis briefly.
Well, I mean, we
In
mentioned haggis, but yes,
haggis, like I know we mentioned them, but I'm just gonna go back to haggis. Haggis is also really cute, and I feel like we're now in this era where like now this is where Moo Deng could fall down. Is like songs like Rolling in the Deep or We Found Love or these songs that like I loved those songs for so long. But then they get overplayed on the radio, and then you're like, oh, not Rolling in the Deep again. Oh, not this. Like, I don't really like Rolling in the Deep anymore, even though it's arguably like it's on one of the greatest albums of the last 20 years. It's one of the like, it's an incredible song, but I heard it too many times, and I'm fearful for Moo Deng. And I'm not saying this is Haggis's fault, and I'm not saying this is the like Berlin hippo's fault. I can't remember its name. Like, not to sorry to erase Berlin from the narrative, but it's like there's these pygmy hippos popping up all over the place now, and I'm like, oh, are we going to oversaturate the pygmy hippo? Obviously not, because there's only 3,000 of them, but in terms of public consciousness, are we going to oversaturate people with the Moo Dengs and Haggises of the world? That's where it might fall down for me.
well, I'm thinking a lot about things that happened. Maybe like I don't know if it was this past spring or this past summer, but people were like throwing things at Moo Deng when like I don't know if you saw those stories. They were like being like guests of the zoo were like being like rude to the animals. So I think because they've attracted so much attention, it's caused, I think, some drama in the real world, not
Mm-hmm.
just this playful debate that we're having.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as zoo people, I think we can take this moment when people are listening to say, if I am there to be polite, I'm there to be helpful, I'm there to teach you things, to tell you things. If you cross a line, like we do have to tell you, do not bang on the glass, do not try and feed the animals, do not. And it's hard for us because we don't want to say those things because we know that they come across like rude or whatever, or they come across sometimes in a way where we might upset you or like we might catch you off guard. We don't want to say those things, but you've got to remember, like when you go into a zoo or a wildlife park or an aquarium or wherever you are, you got to respect those animals, because you wouldn't like it if somebody came into your house and threw stuff at you. You wouldn't like it if someone came into your house and banged on the windows. Like, respect the things that are around you. And I think, like, yeah, as a zoo person, I'm sure you can also appreciate that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I think, yeah. Okay, so to wrap up, you're still Team Pesto.
I think I have to be for the sake of contention.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's very lucky we disagreed. Otherwise,
Could
that
you
would have been
imagine if we were
short and
both
boring.
Team Moo Deng? Like that wouldn't be there'd be no drama at all.
No, and then we just would have absolutely slammed Pesto for no reason. Like, diss track for Pesto. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. So okay, that's good. But I'm glad it didn't get too nasty. There was no hair pulling or calling of
No.
names
It was
or
a pretty safe debate.
yeah. I think so. I think
So if
so.
you're gonna have drama during the holidays, this should be your drama. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I'm going to bring it up at every time somebody round my dinner table when we have the extended family goes, so have you heard about the, I'll just cut in with Moo Deng and Pesto? Yes, I have. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right now. What team are you? Oh, have you seen the news of Moo Deng and Pesto? Yes,
I
absolutely.
have.
We're going
Yes,
to do
thank
that.
you so much. Yes.
Yeah. Like, just interrupt everyone at all times. And I think that's a strong strategy for us all. Happy holidays, one and all. Um, I guess then, moving a little bit on, we've talked about the world in general, but you are here as a guest, and I think it's only polite to ask your guests, what have been some of your highlights of the year? When you look back at 2024, we're going into the new year, what have been some of your personal, either nature highlights where you've seen something interesting, where you've achieved something that you're really proud of, where you've had something happen, or you've seen, what are some of your personal stories where, like, you go, this has been an incredible nature moment this year?
Yeah. I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is earlier this year. I did a little trip out to southeast Arizona. Did some birding out there. Mentioned a couple times. Big birder. Love the birds. And birds here in the Midwest of the United States, we get pretty much the same stuff every year. We get occasional eruption years where things are really different and unique, but for the most part, there's a lot of the same birds. And I can't I definitely have not seen all the birds here. I just want to put that out there. Definitely not, but it's always exciting to see something you've never seen before. So going to Southeast Arizona, seeing birds that live in completely different environments in the Midwest. Midwest, we have a lot of, along the Great Lakes, we have coastal, like kind of freshwater lakes. We have, deciduous forests, coniferous forests. We have like dunes. We have like marshes and swamps. And that's literally all of that, night and day different from the mountains and deserts of Southeast Arizona. So things like roadrunners and quails, hummingbirds, like birds that like blew my mind. So that was a really special moment. On that trip, I hit I think it was my 300th life bird. So my species. So I think I'm at like 317 or 318 now for my life species, which has been really, really exciting.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And it's something that, like, so a few years ago, I was lucky enough through NAAEE to be able to go to Tucson for their conference there in Arizona. And I remember experiencing the same thing of, like, growing up in Scotland where everything is like, I have never been, and I've gone to various, like, I'd been to the US before, but just to Florida, and I'd been to like lots of places. I've been lucky enough to be able to go to a few places around Europe, and like, there was something about Arizona where I was like, this is the first like desert I've been in,
Yeah.
right? It's the first and what amazed me was, like, there is still, like, when you see a picture of a desert, you think, oh, there's nothing here. But the life that is present in those spaces is incredible. And, like, I just was so amazed by this selection, especially hummingbirds, right? Because for some reason in my head, hummingbirds, they exist in you always see them pictured in very green, lush, beautiful kind of like, well, classically beautiful. Deserts are filled with this life that is beautiful, and hummingbirds and all of these things. It's just amazing. So I couldn't agree more that that is a fantastic experience. Like, sounds incredible. Um yeah, it also kind of, I think, relates quite nicely onto one of the things that I was going to say was, like, I had a similar kind of birding experience this year where I think I've actually had, like, the closest encounter with one of my favorite species I've ever had this year, which was when I went to Global Bird Fair to record the live podcasts. Me and one of my friends, Guillaume, went down, and in the evenings, like it was in the middle of summer, so it was late, like it was light till really late. So we went out for a walk one night, just the two of us, where it was really quiet, and like we went to like all these bird hides and things. And we were sat there in front of this thing, and the glass was covered in like insects and bugs. So I had like we were just kind of sat there, and Guillaume had said, like, don't open the window, like there's like loads of like little midges, like little mosquito-y things flying around outside, like don't open the window, they'll fly in. And I was like, cool, whatever. So I had like unfocused, I'd put my camera off of autofocus, which was it's the stupidest thing I've done all year, and was like trying to take a picture of like one of these like weird like creepy crawly things that was just kind of sat on the inside the bird hide. And at that I looked up, and from behind the glass, as my camera was completely not set up to take its picture, like I swear, like a barn owl, like a barn owl swooped down in front of the glass as close as, like, had I reached my hand out, I would have touched it, like, and just like right in front of me, just like swooped right down in front of our faces, and like then along the field and down into like the grass. And then we were able to follow it as the sun set on this beautiful like orange blue night. We were able to kind of follow it around the fields and watch it hunting. And I was like, this is actually the most incredible thing. And like in a moment there was that frustration of like, damn it, why wasn't my camera set up? But then just being able to watch it and appreciate it and see it move, I was like, this feels like, and just it be the two of us and the owl, right? This like and the poor mouse that the owl caught, but like the two, it felt like this moment of like, wow, like we are in the middle of nowhere. This is a truly special, beautiful moment that we're experiencing right now. And like, yeah, for something that was just so incredible. So that's one of mine as well, is to do with like going out and looking at birds as well.
I mean, I think there's a couple things that I think bond everybody together, no matter what your background is or your experience in nature or green spaces is everybody, I think, no matter where you are, has a connection to birds, because birds literally are everywhere. Every culture has stories with birds. Everybody has seen city pigeons, or oh, what's that weird colored bird? Oh, I guess it's flew away. That never think about it again. But everybody has some sort of story or some sort of experience with birds, and it can be a really special and unique sort of bonding thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was actually proven in like, so when in episode 100, I asked people, like all these people, to nominate their favorite underappreciated creatures, right? And I think birds made up the majority of the list. Like there was at least, like, if you were to break it down, I think birds came in at like number one, like maybe number one, six, seven, eight. Like there was at least five different birds on on the list, and like, and it was the similar thing, right? Of like someone suggested the pigeon, right? And it was this thing of like,
My
they're
favorite bird.
everywhere.
My
They're
favorite
literally
bird.
everywhere. Like, and oh well, you're going to be disappointed in its placement on the list because I think it came in at number 11. But
That's
like,
okay.
it's
Still on the list. Still on the
and like,
list.
yeah, and like I think it's like these things, right? We can have these connection with the fabulous birds that we see, but also these ones that are all around us all the time are still fabulous and still interesting. We just don't appreciate them as much for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, experiencing that at that time in that moment was just, yeah, really special, really really
Mm-hmm.
special. Especially because I was in the midst of recording like my first ever live podcast. I did 4, and those are going to be the next episodes out, listeners. Do not worry, I have them. They are being edited. They will come out soon. And yeah, so in the midst of this, like what could have been quite stressful, right, doing my first ever things, like it was just this moment of peace, and like, yeah, it was so incredible. And of course, like, yeah, like being able to do it like while having this other amazing experience at the same time, recording the live podcasts, like was just amazing, and like a dream come true, because like never had I imagined I would get to do something like that. Never had I imagined someone would give me a microphone and let me go onto stage and interview actual professional people. Like that's a madness to me, and that was so incredible, and like a dream come true because of all the listeners of the show and all of the people who've supported me. So thank you, listeners. I don't know, you kind of you talked a little bit about your live podcasting experience there. Was that also on your list of moments, or was there other things that you kind of were like, this was a big thing?
Yeah, I was gonna mention it. I feel like that was a part of a bigger thing where just like I feel like I've been able to be a part of so much, um, like nature observing, I guess is what I'm trying to say without saying it. Like not just birding, but like all sorts of nature. So like I've led a bunch of, nature outings this year, for different community organizations, or for, local Audubon chapters, or whatever. And I've also been able to be a part of some really awesome like festivals celebrating nature. So I was one of the on the planning team for the Chicagoland Region's City Nature Challenge back in April. I gave my live podcast episode and got to lead nature outings at the Indiana Dunes Birding Festival back in May. I led outings for the Urban Birding Festival here in Chicago in September. So I've been able to really do so much kind of guiding people into nature. And it's been really, really, really lovely to sort of get to share my love for the natural world with everybody, whether that's through the podcast, through leading nature outings, through creating events where people can just enjoy the world around them. I think that's been really special for me this year. Is I've done that kind of stuff in the past. I led outings for festivals and whatever, but this year has been sort of a real big ramp up in all that, which has been really great.
Yeah, I think I think that's fantastic, right? And it's that thing of like, I think especially, and I don't know if you experienced this as someone who started their podcast like during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I had worked in zoos and things before, and I'd worked in kind of public facing conservation roles, but because I kind of found my voice in the pandemic when I came out of it, and then was confronted with all of these opportunities to be in front of people, I was like, oh my, like people don't just turn up to things when it's me as Zoo Jack being paid by a big organization. People will come and listen to me like and do these other kind of things like when
Yeah.
it's just little old me, like
Yeah.
that's insane. So yeah, I think
Big
that's
confidence
amazing.
booster.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, I can imagine like, and it's something that I want to looking forward to the next year. Like, I think, especially after the NAAEE conference where I met a bunch of people who want to do like podcasting workshops and things, it's something that I really want to look into more is this like, how can we engage as many groups with nature as possible, right? In these kind of classic led senses where we go out into nature, but also in like the podcasting sphere, right? If there's the kids out there who just want to use technology, they don't love necessarily getting their hands dirty, that's fine. They can still be engaged. We just need to find another way to do it, right? If there's people who like only want to watch videos or listen to podcasts, how can we reach them? What can we do? If there's people who like, if there's a language barrier, how can we break those things down? How can we, start to overcome those things? I think that's a really like, I agree that it's something that I kind of has started this year, but it's something I also want to look forward to. I actually really am excited like to look forward to into the new year. So yeah, I'm very excited about all of that as well.
Yeah, 2025 is going to be a really exciting year, I think, for a lot of reasons. But, looking forward, it's going to be filled with, more memorable moments in green spaces, which is something that I really love.
Yes, yes, and I think like I think a shared moment that we kind of might
Yeah,
have that we should maybe talk about, and I've already
probably a
released
little bit.
just a little bit. I've already like released a 50-minute podcast about it when it was meant to be 10 minutes, but it happens. It happens. Is also this year I got to attend my second in-person NAAEE conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and like one of the highlights of the year for multiple reasons. In terms of like nature, it allowed me to see my first ever northern cardinals. Right, it allowed me to
Yeah,
experience like that part of the US in autumn, which when you have red birds flying around orange leaves surrounded by red berries was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like just incredible, incredible, and like so wonderful. It allowed me to like I went to New York after that. I saw my first ever kiwis. I got to experience like all of that kind of stuff, which was like the most wonderful. Like I'd always wanted to go to Central Park Zoo. I'd always wanted to kind of go to the Bronx Zoo. I'd always wanted to kind of go and experience these places. The Natural History Museum in New York, got to do all of that. And of course, it allowed me to do experience what we kind of experienced together, which was the NAAEE conference. And like, this is like, I hope I can either pay for or they can find funding for me to go to every single in-person conference from now to the end of time, because
likewise.
I love it so much. Like, and it's something that like when I went in Tucson, it happened at exactly the right time. And I told the story about that on the recap. So we don't have to talk about it now, but like, if you want to go and hear why that was so important to me, go back and listen to that. But like, just that conference was like so incredible. And I can only imagine as like a previous in 2022, I was one of the final closing plenary speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can only imagine for you, one of this year's closing plenary speakers,
Yeah.
having your face on posters, having everybody know who you are, like having an audience of 1,000
It
people,
was
like
so
amazing.
intimidating. Like
Yep.
the intimidating part was not speaking in front of people. Like that's my job. I'm an educator. I know how to talk in front of people.
Yep.
The hardest part was like everybody knowing who I was the whole time. Or
Yep.
like, oh, are you like presenting at the conference? Oh yeah, I'm talking on Saturday. And like, oh, what's your session? I was like, I'm actually the closing plenary session.
Yeah. Oh, actually, did you see that poster? That's me. That's me. Would you
That's
like me
actually
to
me. I'm
sign
on
one?
that. That's me.
Yeah.
So sorry. I've been
Yeah.
on every. Yeah. So sorry. And the thing is, I'm not that person to like brag. I really don't love like spotlight on me because like my whole work is focused on other people, so it's weird to have it like reflected back at me. But it's been really exciting, and I think it's been really um, confidence boosting.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have a? I talked about that for an hour by myself, and I talked about all my favorite sessions. I wonder, did you have a moment or a session or a thing like where you were like, "This, I loved this," for example?
honestly, I think the biggest part of it for me was just the networking, like meeting people, meeting you, like meeting so many amazing,
Oh.
wonderful human beings who I genuinely feel like I will have like ideally lifelong connections with because
Mm-hmm.
of the shared passion that we have
Mm-hmm.
for environmental education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like yeah, you were meant to say, Jack, I loved your panel that you hosted, but that
I mean,
we can
I
just
was sitting in the front row. I was sitting in the front row.
yeah, we can we'll record that again, and you can just say, Jack, your panel was my favorite thing.
Okay, here
That's what we
you
can
can cut
do.
it. You can cut it right here. Jack, I really loved the panel that you were leading and hosting. It was really spectacular.
Thank you so much for that totally natural compliment. I definitely unprompted there, and that's so wonderful to hear in such a natural sense. It means actually the most to me. Thank you so much. No, but I genuinely like. I agree so much. Is like these conferences always remind me like why I love what I love because I see the passion in other people. Like and it's so often, especially working in a silo, right, of a podcasting sphere, right? I go to the zoo and it reminds me of the passion, but I work there maybe a couple times a month. Like whereas here, when I do the podcast, I sit by myself and I record it and I get that energy boost in like little drips, like little whatever, whenever I talk to someone. But a lot of my time is spent editing or researching or writing questions. And so going and standing in a space where everybody is so positive, everyone is so intelligent, everyone is so wonderful, everyone is so passionate, everyone is so inspiring. They're all my heroes. Getting to connect with people like I'd never met before, people who I'd met in Tucson, who I haven't seen in 2 years, and it was coming back together like we were best friends and like giving them hugs and being like, I haven't seen you in 2 years, and it feels like it's barely been an hour. Like
Mm-hmm.
getting to
It's the
meet
best
people who
feeling.
it's just the best, and like getting to meet people I had on the podcast, like Alaric was like amazing, like and it was just fantastic to get to like and also meet like people whose podcasts I love from a distance, like yeah, maybe the guest on this show, like getting to meet you, getting to meet like all of these amazing people, right? Who like just yeah, it's so fantastic, and like getting to spend time with them all, and just wonderful. And like I agree. I hope, and this is the thing that I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't have to talk to these people every hour. I don't have to talk to them every month or like every 6 months. But they're the type of people when you're in those kind of spaces. I love it because they're the type of people where like I know I could pick up the phone in 6 months and call one of those people, and we would pick up the phone and we would have a really passionate, engaged conversation, or I could bounce an idea off them. Or like even when I got back, I had an idea for a podcast and I sent it to Alaric and he was like, oh, that's brilliant. You should do this, and this, right? There's like these like people that like you meet and like you're like, oh, you have no reason to be this nice to me, but it's just so fantastic that everybody is. It's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And like yeah, and you're just to big you up your ego again. The
Oh,
closing plenary was fantastic, and
thank
so
you,
very well. Like, yeah, just like
thank you.
I walked away, and I said it on the podcast with the recap. But like, I walked away, and I was like, well, I'm glad I was 2 years ago and not this year because I don't know if I could
Oh,
have stood up against everybody else who was up there because like my yeah, everyone was so fantastic.
yeah.
So fantastic, such a strong lineup of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
I wondered, was there any other memories you had associated with that, or any other memories adjacent to the or personal ones?
To the conference?
Well, yeah, or just anything else that happened throughout the year.
Oh, honestly, I mean, I feel like again, I could talk for hours, but those were the
Uh-huh.
big ones. I think just like, I mean, I'll just mention it because I can. Like, just getting to continue to grow in my professional career, getting to gain experience with all different sorts of new skills at my work at the zoo, and then just like you know spending more time with my loved ones, like my friends and family. So it was really really lovely this year.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, that is the correct answer. And like, yeah, yeah, like, yeah, and like when I look, yeah, I think like the only one thing I had left to mention aside from like friends and family. Ugh, okay, okay, no, love them all dearly. They know it, and they know that of course, I would say something sassy like that. But like the last thing I wanted to mention, like as a highlight, was Pangolin Pride, because like it was something that I've wanted to do since the podcast started, and like being able to do it and episode 100 and live podcast all in one year, all of these big dreams I've always wanted to do, meant so much to me. And I think like I found through that the heroes that little Jack always needed and wanted, and I'm so grateful I did. And like I'm just going to use this opportunity, as I have used every opportunity since it came up, to tell those guests specifically, if they're listening, like they're amazing. And if you are somebody who feels like they don't belong in like nature spaces for whatever reason, go back, listen to those episodes, because the point of the series was not just to kind of, show that, like, not just to kind of talk about necessarily like LGBTQIA pluses people's experiences in conservation. It was also to show that like there are incredible, like it's not just that like like we're there and we do amazing things, right? We create incredible content, we do marketing, we do veterinary work, we do kind of education work, and like we are conservation, we design master plans for conservation, and we do research, and we do all of these things. There is a space for you in conservation, no matter what kind of the world may have wanted to teach you. That is wrong. Like there is always a space, and the point was to show like, we're there, we're here, and yeah, we're doing amazing things. And it just, yeah, and all of the guests on that like really are my heroes. So go back, and if you haven't listened and you're feeling like you need a bit of inspiration for the new year, those people are my biggest heroes and my biggest inspirations. Like so incredible, so incredible. um and yeah, and episode 100 was pretty amazing too. Like I love that. But that's, I don't need to talk about me too much. But like those were all my like little highlights of the year, and obviously like getting to spend, as to echo CJ, getting to spend time with all of these amazing people, both new friends, old friends, family, loved ones, has just been incredible, incredible. Um, yeah. And I guess we're moving now into the final couple questions. Now, these ones I usually do a bit more quick fire. They're maybe not as discussion based, a little more, maybe your answers are longer, that's okay. But we do have a couple last questions for you. Now, usually, we ask people the same three questions at the end. It is, how can people get involved in conservation? What is your favorite underappreciated species? And how can people keep up to date with you? And while we're talking along the same themes, I would like to kind of twist them for our holiday special. And so, what I will ask you is not like about how other, like what should people do. I'm going to ask, what are you doing? What is your nature New Year's resolution for 2025? What are you going to be doing next year
Oh,
to kind of get more engaged or increase your work or relax more? Or what is it? What is your New Year's resolution?
I mean, I think I already mentioned it a little bit towards the top of the podcast, but the Birdy Bunch podcast is going to come back. It's going to make some sort of
Hmm.
reappearance in 2025.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But another is just spending more time outside. Like I like Chicago, where I live. It is a city that is very deliberate with its green spaces, and I love, 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 love just our city parks, our lakefront beaches. Like the city is so like lush when you don't really think of urban areas as such. So just spending more time in our green spaces in the city is something that I'm pretty stoked about.
That's an excellent choice. An excellent choice. And I think it's similar to like, I think mine, and I say this every year, mine is very similar, is that Scotland is, I feel very lucky living in Scotland because you can drive literally 15 minutes in every direction and land in the middle of nowhere. And every year for the last 3 or 4 years, I've said my New Year's resolution is to climb Ben Nevis, which is like the tallest mountain in Scotland. And this year I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to train and I'm going to spend time in nature to do it. And then I'm going to go and climb that mountain and spend even more time
That's
like in nature.
exciting.
That's what I want to do. This is my
I
goal.
love that.
And like, yeah. And like one of my friends the other day, he was like, oh, you should, like we should go birding or something on January 2nd or January 3rd or something. And I was like, yes, we will be doing that because we're
I'm in.
starting the year as we intend to go on. Like, yes, 100% in. Gonna do that. I think my other one, and like this is not necessarily, I think it's nature related, is I've been trying to learn Spanish for about 5 years. And I started it in my undergrad of university and was terrible because I'm dyspraxic and dyslexic and my brain really struggles with even English, which I've been learning my whole life, right? Like I can't get grammar sometimes, I can't do these things, I can't spell. And I learned French in high school and I did quite well. And I got an A, but that was mainly because my French teacher, I think, didn't believe in me. And I was like, I'll prove you wrong. I'll become fluent for about 2 days for the exam and then forget everything. Um, but my goal for this year is to learn at least basic in some form Spanish because I think as I go on in my career and as I go on more in life in general, the more I encounter things where I'm like, being born in the UK, right? We are so often just taught English or poorly taught another language in school. But actually, to work in a space that is so international, relies on so many people, it is both. It's not like, and it's not to say everyone has to do it, but it just feels like it's consistently like either rude to not be able to engage with people or like it's holding me back in ways where I'm like, I want to be able to engage new audiences. I want to be able to talk to people. I want to be able to learn from everybody. And I just wish I was able to. And I think like, yeah, I think this year that like I really would like to try and put energy into that. And like I'd even kind of I have an idea for a new show that I kind of want to do that involves multiple languages being spoken at the same time, and it will mess with everyone's heads. I think it will mess with my head, but I want to be able to pursue that and be able to be as respectful and engaged as I can be. So that's another goal is like try and learn another language because I
It's a
think
great goal.
like yeah. I don't know. Do you speak any other languages?
I wish. So my grandmother was from Italy, and she
Oh,
spoke Italian, obviously, and but her English wasn't the best. So I can
okay.
understand Italian. So
Hmm.
I would speak to her in English, and she would speak to me in Italian. And we would just understand each other.
Oh
So I
wow.
can understand like Spanish and Italian, a lot of the Latin-based languages. I can understand them like pretty well. I usually get between like 60 and 70%, but it's a whole other skill to be able to like say it back.
Yep. Yep.
And my brain,
Yep.
like similarly to yours, like doesn't click like English is something I also struggle with. And my whole like undergrad degree is in humanities. So like I I studied this and it's still difficult.
Yep. Yep. And so this is why this year, like I have a friend from Barcelona. I have met people like Alaric and Tommy through the podcast who speak
Hmm.
Spanish. Like I have not like and so I'm gonna start just like I'm gonna try and learn so I can at least speak to my friends and like colleagues who and like at least be able to try. And we'll see. It's gonna be a disaster and it'll end up with me probably absolutely embarrassing myself consistently because they'll be like, Jack, why are you asking about seahorses? And I'll be like, oh, I thought I was asking where the kettle was. Like I just it won't make any sense. Like, but we'll try and like, we'll see where we get.
Yeah,
So that is my goal.
it's a good
Um,
goal.
yeah. I think then moving forward onto our next question, we have what is your underappreciated animal of the year? Now, usually I ask about just your favorite underappreciated species of all time, but I wonder if this year in particular, do you look back and think Moo Deng and Pesto stole every moment in the spotlight? Is there a species that you think we should have been looking at this?
That's a really, really, really good question. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think again, I'm a bird person, but I'm gonna stray a little bit here. I think species that tend to go forgotten, in my opinion, are amphibians.
Correct. Yep.
And I feel
Uh-huh.
like there's just really so many incredible amphibians that we don't talk about. And so this is not a specific individual species. I think it's more of like it's probably more than one genus. I don't know for sure. But it's the most underappreciated because no one talks about them at all when they're talking about amphibians. People talk about frogs and toads and salamanders and newts, but no one talks about this. I think how you pronounce it, Sicilians.
Oh, yes. I've heard it as Sicilians, but I don't
Sure,
know what's correct.
sure, but they're so creepy and weird, and I
Yep.
love them.
Hmm.
And so I think an ongoing conservation issue that's always like, oh, I should think more about that, like in the back of my brain, is the like in like the essentially the amphibian pandemic of chytrid fungus.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, when you're thinking about conservation issues to find solutions for, think of amphibians.
I think that is 100% the correct. Yeah, that is. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant answer, and I think yeah, let's make 2025 the year of the amphibian. I'll try and get
Ah,
some more guests on about
yes.
amphibians. I think it's my goal is because I always get accused of having a mammal bias, right? And again, I don't think amphibians were ever suggested for the top 10 list of underappreciated species that we did for episode 100. Like they're missing. Maybe at 150 I need to do updated list and slot in some amphibians and reptiles because yeah, these things are so wonderful. They're also so dependent on where you live, so available as
Yeah. I
are
mean, things
yeah.
like birds, reptiles, amphibians, they're also, and again, just significantly more diverse biologically, ecologically than mammals are. And mammals are filling just as many niches as these guys, but there's just not as many mammals because, evolutionarily speaking, we're new.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can tell because we're far less interesting. They've had years to work out all the weird and creepy things about themselves. We're just well, we're just bags of soggy, gross skin and ugh.
we're fur and milk. That's pretty much all we are.
Ugh. Merry Christmas. No, but you're 100% correct. And so I guess, on that horrifying note, we are moving towards the end of the show. Before I ask, is there where people can keep up to date with your work? Is there anything we haven't talked about? Any story, anything, any message, any whatever that we haven't spoken on that you think, oh, I forgot to say this. I really want to say this. There's a topic we want to talk about. Anything last minute things
Yeah,
for
nothing that
Christmas?
comes to mind right away. I think just like final messages is just like be good to each other, be kind in this new year. I mean, the world is scary and a lot, and the point of this podcast was to bring joy and spread positivity. But the world isn't always that. So look for the positivity when it's hard to find in this new year.
Yes, yes. And look after yourselves where if you feel
Yes.
there's not a positive space at the moment, or you feel stressed or you feel anything, those feelings are very real and they are justified and we can and I say smile and look for the good. Sometimes that's hard. So if you are finding it hard, take time to care for yourself. Take a moment to um, you know, take a moment to go out into nature, right? Take a moment to wander by yourself, to read a book, to go and speak to somebody, to find do these things. And that's why this show is sponsored by no, it's not.
I was like, really? Wow, that's so
Well, no,
crazy. That's
it's
awesome.
I wish if there's anyone who wants to provide us with a sponsorship for those kinds of things, I would love it. Can you imagine? I really felt like I was going into one of the classic. I don't even want to name one of the online
Yeah,
mental health
no.
things, but it really felt like I was going into one. But no, do genuinely, seriously, go look after yourselves, look after each other,
I mean,
keep
that's
yourselves.
that's
Yeah,
how we're gonna get through any hard times in the future is through finding community, whether that's the community of listeners here, whether that's community where you live, community in your family, community in your friends, community in your workplace, community in your identity group. So whether you're the queer community or BIPOC community or whomever, that's how we're going to get through, is support from our people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the true happy holidays message right there. Like, that is correct. And yeah. And thank you so much to all of our listeners for being part of our community. Thank you, CJ,
Yeah,
for being part of my community. Thank
I'm
you to
honored.
everyone who's like been on the show this year, like who's part of the community, part of the family. Like, yeah, I say it all the time, is like, whether like, whether like without all of you out there, like, this podcast would be nothing. We wouldn't have been able to talk about all the things that we do without the incredible, amazing support of a community like all of you listeners. So thank you so much. And yeah, huge thank you to you, CJ,
Oh my
for
gosh,
being
of
part of
course.
that. And I guess then the last thing to ask you is, where can people keep up to date with your work? Like, where is there the podcast, social media, where can they go?
Yeah, the best place to keep in touch with me or just find what I'm doing is on my Instagram, which is at cj.greco. That's cj.greco. And it's just has whatever I'm doing. I'll post stories, I'll post pictures. Um, I'll probably post something before this episode comes out to like hype it up, but we'll see. Um, but you can follow the Birdy Bunch Podcast on Instagram at the Birdy Bunch Podcast, or on Facebook. There's also, you can support pretty much any of the work that I'm doing on Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Birdy Bunch Podcast. Um, and yeah, or you can, any of the community organizations that I work with. So I'm on the board for a community organization called Out in Nature. We're essentially a um, like LGBTQIA plus affinity group doing nature outings. You can find the events that they're doing on Instagram at Out in Nature Shy, or visit our website outinnature.gay. Yes, that's real.
I so that caught me. You know that way where you're just listening and nodding, and then something catches you
Yeah.
completely off guard, and you go, "Sorry, what?"
Huh? No, yeah, that's our real
Love it.
website.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think going into this new year, I'm going to be looking for maybe not as many opportunities to do things, but more opportunities for collaborations. So I'm excited to continue working with you, Jack, on some really cool stuff. I'm excited to reach out to our extended network of people through NAAEE, and then just do more, local conservation stuff as well. So that's where you can find me.
Amazing, amazing. And as I said in the beginning, I will put links to all of those things in the description of the episode. So go down, check them all out. If you've got a holiday break, now is the perfect time to get listening to a brand new podcast. Once you've listened to all the episodes of Pangolin, obviously, like, go and
Obviously.
check out the Birdy Bunch, go and check out all these things. And yes, and just to echo what you said, I am so excited for the new year because, yes, let's find a new way to work together. Let's find new
Hmm.
groups to engage. Let's find different ways to go about kind of, yeah, about doing the things we love doing. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited. So excited. um I guess then, to wrap up, all that is left to say, I suppose, is like, all of our details are available in the description as well. So you can subscribe to the podcast. You can, wherever you're listening, you can find us on social media at Pangolin Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn. I think we're on TikTok still. We've moved away from this the site that shall not be named, but we are. I think the profile is still active if you are, so you can follow us on there. But we're on all those sites. You can also follow me at the only Jack Baker on Instagram. And yes, I suppose, like, with that, just one last huge thank you, of course, to the listeners for tuning in, but also, of course, to you, CJ, for making the
Oh,
time this holiday season to talk to me. I'm so grateful for all of the conversations we've had. I am
yeah.
slightly disappointed you like Pesto, but that's okay. We'll get past that. We'll
Well,
we'll find a way to get
yeah,
past that.
we're gonna have to find a way to move past that.
Yes, and what's actually just, like, I've realized on the screen is that, earlier we kind of said, like, oh, maybe we're the same person. On my screen, in some kind of weird Black Mirror situation,
I just
because
noticed
we've
this.
not got our cameras on, it's we've got like your icon is just a C and mine is just a J. So I'm like, it says CJ on my screen, just confirming the
We
theory that we
are
are the same
one.
person.
We
Yep.
are one.
Oh, I wish my name, like, I like, yeah, I wish, like, I would, like, that is, oh, listeners, if you could feel the chills running down my spine as we realize we're the same person. This is madness. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you,
Of
thank you, thank
course.
you.
No, I'm so unbelievably honored, and I'm so excited to continue, working together and being friends. Like it's an exciting thing to I'm just gonna just say it like this. I just love friendship. Friendship's pretty great,
Oh.
and this is a good example of it, I feel.
Yes, yes, and I 100% agree. And like, if you want, if you don't, if no one believes me, go and read the mushy posts I put out for Pangolin 100 because they're my heart is just exploding onto the social medias with love for all of the people that I've met over the last 4 years doing this. So yeah, like and I can't, yeah. And I could sit here and say thank you again and again and again, but we knew we need to wrap up. We've gone far longer
Yes.
than I even intended. But I just want to say a huge thank you to the listeners. Thank you, CJ. Happy holidays from everyone here at Pangolin. Thank you for another spectacular year. I can't wait to see what 2025 brings. I'm so grateful for all of the excitement of 2024, the live podcast, Pangolin Pride, Season 6, the NAAEE conference. All of these things only happen because of you. So happy holidays. I hope they are filled with love and light and joy. And until next year,
Yeah, catch you next time.
scary, next year. Goodbye.